What if I told you that India's electric cab revolution was powered not just by lithium-ion batteries, but also by a web of lies, loans, and luxury real estate?
BluSmart, once hailed as India's answer to sustainable ride-hailing, is now in the eye of a financial storm. From disrupting the EV cab market to now suspending operations and facing regulatory heat,
this isn't just a story about electric cars. It's about ambition, manipulation, and a regulatory storm that's shaking up the entire startup ecosystem. By 2024, it had a fleet of over 8,000 EVs. Gensol borrowed money, brought EVs, leased them to BluSmart, and the ride went on until SEBI stepped in. This isn't just a corporate scam. It could potentially trigger legal action under the Prevention of Corruption Act, the Companies Act of 2013, and SEBI's insider trading and misrepresentation provisions. What if I told you that India's electric cab revolution was powered not just by lithium-ion batteries, but also by a web of lies, loans, and luxury real estate? Today, on Quick Projects, we're diving into the shocking tale of BluSmart, once hailed as India's answer to Uber, now reeling under one of the biggest EV sector scandals of our time. Buckle up. This isn't just a story about electric cars. It's about ambition, manipulation, and a regulatory storm that's shaking up the entire startup ecosystem. This is Riding on the Electric Dreams, the BluSmart Scam. Let's rewind. The year was 2019. Climate talks were heating, fuel prices were soaring, and India's metros were choking on pollution. Enters BluSmart, an all-electric ride-hailing startup founded by brothers Anmol Singh Jaggi and Puneet Singh Jaggi. With its promise of zero emissions, zero surge pricing, and smart tech integration, BluSmart was marketed as the cleaner, greener alternative to Uber and Ola. By 2024, it had a fleet of over 8,000 EVs. Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, BluSmart was everywhere. They weren't just offering cab rides, they were selling a vision, a future where your daily commute wouldn't kill the planet. But behind this clean energy dream was a lesser known entity, Gensol Engineering Limited, also founded by the Jaggi brothers. Gensol wasn't just a partner, it was the real muscle behind BluSmart, responsible for buying EVs and leasing them to the ride-hailing arm. The Jaggi brothers had created a perfect loop. Gensol borrowed money, brought EVs, leased them to BluSmart, and the ride went on until SEBI stepped in. In April 2025, the Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI, cracked open the books, and what they found wasn't just irregular, it was criminal. Over 978 crore in loans from IREDA and Power Finance Corporation meant for electric vehicles were allegedly misused. Money was diverted not to EVs but to buy luxury apartments in Gurgaon's elite DLF Camellias worth 50 crore rupees. A $30,000 golf set, high-end personal purchases, all funded with public sector green loans. This wasn't just mismanagement. It was a deliberate diversion of clean energy funds into dirty personal luxuries. On April 17th, BluSmart suspended all bookings. If you opened the app, all cities were grayed out. Drivers, over 10,000 of them, were stranded. Some had invested their savings into BluSmart's promise of lease-to-own EV models. Now, they were left with loans and no income. Customers left with wallet balances and no rides. The company promised a refund in 90 days. But trust, once broken, doesn't come with a tracking ID. SEBI's interim order was scathing. The Jaggi brothers were barred from holding any top positions in listed companies, and from accessing the securities market. Gensol's credit rating was downgraded. Shareholders panicked. The company's value nosedived. And BluSmart, once a poster child of India's EV revolution, now stood as a cautionary tale of how greenwashed PR can cover red flag books. What makes this even more serious is the misuse of public sector funds, taxpayer-backed green energy loans that fall under constitutional directives for sustainable development and economic equity. This isn't just a corporate scam. It could potentially trigger legal action under the Prevention of Corruption Act, the Companies Act of 2013, and SEBI's insider trading and misrepresentation provisions. Questions are being raised on due diligence, regulatory audits, and the need for transparency in India's booming startup economy. The BluSmart story isn't just about two brothers or a failed startup. It's about the thin line between ambition and greed, and how accountability must evolve as fast as innovation does. As India races towards a greener future, stories like this remind us the fuel of progress must never be fraud. It must be truth, transparency, and trust. This has been your host on Quick Projects. Stay aware, stay informed, and always ask, what's driving your ride? Don't forget to share this episode if you found it insightful. Until next time, question everything and stay curious.